Something I've been noticing recently is that people can get a bit crazed when they're thinking about their ambitions and their dreams. And the bigger the ambition, the bigger the dream, sometimes the more stuck a person feels. And the reason for this is we place outsized expectations on ourselves. We place the whole world on our shoulders, and it crushes us because we don't yet have the muscle and the ability to make those quantum leaps in our impact, in our income, the things that everyone is saying to jump ahead. And there's two sides here. On the one hand, I honestly believe that having inspiring visions is really powerful. When people know what they're doing in this world, when they know how to step into their power and live out their soul's calling, then this world will be transformed. But what people don't talk about is the intense fear and panic that these big dreams can create in us, especially if we don't know how to translate that dream into reality. So what do we do about this overwhelming panic, which leads to paralysis? So when we take the whole world on our shoulders, like Atlas, we unintentionally set ourselves up for failure. If you want to start an ocean cleaning startup or a hemp plastic company that creates biodegradable plastics, or want to create peace in Israel and Palestine, but you have no experience cleaning ponds or working with or growing hemp or doing any kind of mediation between your family members, much less giant groups of people, then instead of taking massive action and steps forward, you're more likely going to enter into a debilitating panic. Because our goals are so grand and the risk of failure seems so catastrophic, and we feel like we have to do it or the world is going to burst into flames and everything is lost. And we enter into this fight or flight mode. And the upside of a fight or flight mode is that you have a lot of energy. But if you don't know how to translate that into motion, what happens is all of that energy goes entirely into fear, and you end up shutting down and paralyzing yourself. We enter into panic mode and freeze up. And so what the typical spiral that ends up happening for people is people start to feel guilty about themselves, ashamed, they feel angry that they should be further in life, they should be doing more. They should be, bringing their dreams and the thing they love to do out into the world. But then whenever they actually look up at what needs to be done, they get so overwhelmed by how high the mountain is ahead of them that they fail to even take the first step. It's kind of like, looking at Everest, the top of Everest, wanting to get there. But if you're only looking at the peak and not looking at what's directly in front of your feet, you're going to trip and fall on your face because you're not looking at the immediate next step, and you're not looking at the next ledge that you have to summit and the next one after that. You don't have that plan, and just by looking at the peak and not at what's in front of you, you fail. You fall down so many times, you hurt yourself so many times that you feel like, enough, I don't want to do this, and you don't even look at the peak anymore. You just look at the small life, the safe life that's in front of you, because you know that you can succeed in that. And you know deep inside, your soul is telling you that this is not what you're meant to be doing. You're supposed to be going to the peak, to Everest. But you are so beaten down and demotivated by so many false starts that you don't even want to look at it. And I can't tell you just how many people find themselves in this position where they feel like every day they're going in the wrong direction. They feel it, they know it, and their soul is screaming, but they don't know or don't even want to try anymore, because every time they have either their parents or their teachers or their friends or life or their own, all the internal self-doubt and voices that we've internalized just beats us down so that we are incapable of actually making meaningful progress to where we know we need to be. Okay, how do we not spin out? How do we not, hit the gas pedal so hard that our wheels start spinning out and smoke and, burning rubber starts flying in all directions? How do we actually make forward progress in a way that builds on itself and doesn't sabotage us. So I'm going to give you 4 things that you can look at and start to do. The first is to find balance. This is a balance between the urgency that you feel and the steadiness that you need. Oftentimes we get so overwhelmed by it needs to happen now. If it's not happening tomorrow, then it's over. It's too late. The reality is it's not. We need to find the urgency to build up the motivation, to build up the fire inside of us, but keep it steady so that we can control it and put it into actual action. Again, this is balancing the peak, looking at the peak, and looking at what is directly in front of your feet, balancing long-term vision and short-term action. And most importantly, actually taking that action. The second thing to do is to watch out for your ego. There's something that's called the dragon of grandiosity, and this is this is basically the notion that we're striving for these big accomplishments in life, big positive changes in the world. And part of it is our soul that wants that change for the world. But there's another part of us that wants to do it for the glory and wants to do it so that we are the ones that get the praise and the fame and are remembered for doing this massive thing. And that is the dragon of grandiosity. It's the belief that we can do this on our own, that we must do it on our own so that we can hoard the glory for ourselves. That's what this dragon wants to do. And watch out for this. The desire for glory can sometimes, oftentimes, almost always, blind us, cloud our judgment, and prevent us from doing what actually needs to be done for the benefit of ourselves, for the benefit of our community, for the benefit of the goal. Instead, so we want to watch for this ego, we want to watch for this dragon of grandiosity, and to defeat it, very simple, admit that you need help and find the help that you need. I said simple, not easy. Admit that you need help and find the help that you need. Now, continuing with this kind of fantasy metaphor, the third thing that you can do to actually make progress towards your dreams, to get out of this overwhelm, is avoid side quests. And I am very guilty of this. I have a bad habit of shooting off onto side quests, onto tangents. And each of these side quests seems relevant to what I'm trying to do, but is actually a distraction from my core mission. It's if I'm trying to get to the peak of Everest and then I look over there, it's like, oh, but that's a nice peak too. I bet the view would be nice over there. And I start marching off to this other direction. The real reason I'm marching in that direction is because that peak is lower and it seems easier than what I know that I have to do. And so every side quest, if we really are honest with ourselves and pay attention, is driven by fear. And fear of what? It's fear of taking the straightest path up the mountain. And this is really just a large-scale form of procrastination that doesn't happen in the course of a day, but it happens over the course of weeks and months, and if you're not careful, years, where you're going on these side quests and avoiding taking action or even looking at sometimes the real peak, the real thing that you're meant to be doing. So that's number 3, avoiding the side quests. And number 4, very important, enjoy the journey. Celebrate each small victory. Make the journey itself enjoyable by focusing on the joy of climbing the mountain instead of imagining the joy of being on top of the mountain. Not only are you enjoying the journey of your life more, you're actually going to be far more likely to go faster and further than if you're only focused on what it's going to be like when it's done. It's kind of like you're missing all of the trees that along the mountain path. You're missing the views. You're missing the joy of exerting your body and that pleasure of like showing up step by step, breathing in that cold, crisp mountain air. You're missing all of that because you're so focused on the peak. So enjoy the journey. Find ways to celebrate every single day. Enjoy it. Celebrate every small achievement, and it's going to fuel and give momentum to your quest and to your life's goal. So again, these are 4 things that you can do. The first, find balance in your life, balance long-term vision and short-term action, and actually take that action. Watch for your ego. Don't get sucked up by the dragon of grandiosity. 3, avoid side quests. Take the shortest path up the mountain. And 4, enjoy the journey. Don't let the destination be the only point at which you allow yourself joy and happiness. It should be at every step of the way. So I hope this has been helpful, and if you want any more help with this, reach out to me. I work with people one-on-one to really help to figure out what it is that is their peak and what are the things that are getting in the way. Fear can show up in many different ways. There are a lot of different obstacles, and if I can help you figure out how to get there, I would love to. I hope to see you in the next video and hope to hear from you soon.